what does all of this mean for Europe? And again, maybe some people might think this is a touch apocalyptic, but I don't actually think it is. I think the danger here is we've spent too much time thinking things will probably be okay. I think together, even though it is an uneven rise and there will be victories and losses, and there are places like Poland where the far right has lost, I think together we can broadly say that these political parties and the politics that they advance pose a genuine threat to the rights and freedoms which we currently take for granted. But I think they also fundamentally challenge our kind of laziness and acceptance of liberal democracy. This notion that liberal democracy is kind of won in 1990, the Cold War ended. Liberal democracy is the winner, and we're ever marching forward to new rights and new freedoms. I think that's beginning to be challenged. I think the pillars of liberal democracy look increasingly unsteady. Now, this is not to say, I think, that fascism is returning like it's the 1930s. I don't think it's as simple as that. We're not talking about jackboots on the horizon, but I think what we are looking at is most far-right politicians and parties, far-right ones that are winning power, are still doing so within the framework, or in a broad framework of democracy. They still seem to be currently leaving power when they lose, for example. But of course, they severely undermine the institutions that they attack when in power and when outside of it. Few of them seem to be currently, I would hasten, caveat, currently look set on the total destruction of democracy, at least in the immediate effect. But what we are seeing, I think, is a fundamental challenge to liberal democracy. I think in its place, we're seeing the emergence of so-called illiberal democracy, where democratically elected politicians ignore and undermine constitutional norms. They institute policies that deprive some of their citizens of rights, basic rights and freedoms. I think one of the hopeful bits we can cling on to here is that currently, again, a caveat, those who oppose this form of politics, those that oppose notions of illiberal democracy, in almost all, but most places certainly, remain in the majority. We remain in the majority. We are not, can't be taking that for granted, I guess is where I would finish. The idea that liberal democracy and the norms and rights protections that we've become used to are kind of innate, or they're just going to be there, I think is naive. And I think we need to start understanding that the threat is at a level now where we're looking to the next 5, 10 years. Certainly, we could be in a situation where far-right individuals and politicians are in positions of power in Italy, France, Germany, parts of Scandinavia, of course, Hungary already. These will pose fundamental challenges to the continuation of liberal democratic norms across our continent. And I think we need to start waking up even faster than we already are, to turn around and start to understand and discuss ways in which even those we disagree with, but still can collaborate with in defending liberal democracy, I think is going to be a really, really important next few years.